This book left me shattered, literally. Today we are looking at a book and an author that I have never actually read. This is 7 Summers by Paige Toon. And listen guys, this left me in tatters. I mean, I was shredded. I was like heartbroken in the best way possible. So the story starts in present day, okay, so present day summer with our main lady whose name is Liv, and she is working and living in St. Agnes, which is a coastal town in the UK. First things first, this town sounds like it is cute as a freaking button. I mean, I would live there, hands down, no questions asked. Move me to St. Agnes right now, okay? So she's managing some rentals, okay? So it's sort of like this Airbnb feeling. So she manages, cleans, and sort of takes care of a couple of properties while she's also working at a local restaurant called the Sea Glass. And the Sea Glass is sort of like this central hub for the town. And she's also working as a sculptor. She went to art school and she's a sculptor and she does a lot of like commissioned work and stuff like that. So the girl is hustling, but in literally the best way possible. It doesn't feel like she's trying to like dominate anybody or like she's not trying to take over the world. She's just doing what she loves, living her life, living in the town that she loves, doing her own thing, right? As we go along, we start hearing, in present day, we start hearing a lot about this Finn guy. We hear it from her friends. She's thinking about this Finn guy, and it's obvious that Finn and Liv, they had something, okay? Something happened between Finn and Liv, and for some reason, she's caught up on him, okay? So she's super caught up on him, but it's obvious that this was a dysfunctional thing. This was sort of like this like flash fire, like this burning relationship. It was a super deep relationship, and it was something that was painful, but that was deep, that was dysfunctional, but that was true, right? And so we see this like battle that she's sort of having within herself and about this Finn guy that we have yet to meet. But we don't know what happened, right? We have absolutely no idea what happened. All we know is that she has a history with this guy named Finn, and you could tell that there was this massive falling out of some sort, but you're not entirely sure what the falling out was. So we actually rewind 6 summers back and we start looking at how this story actually began and where it all started. And we meet Finn, which, I mean, listen, he's my moody artist, okay? We have super skinny, moody artist with black hair. I swear, every single moody artist in the world has black hair. In the romance novel world, they always have black hair, and they're always skinny. I mean, my main man is the moody artist, and he's got black hair, and he's skinny too. So it's a thing. Apparently, in a writer's mind, moody artists have to have black hair and be skinny. So we meet Finn, and we actually see the situation surrounding how Liv met Finn and like what was happening in Liv's life when we meet Finn, when Finn became a thing in her life. And it's obvious from the beginning that this guy is not necessarily a stable person. Not like, oh, he's mentally insane. That's not the case at all. But you can tell that, at this point in his life, he is going where the wind takes him. He's really struggling to heal from past wounds. He's really struggling to move forward. He's like, this guy's having a hard time, right? And you can tell that he's just not one of those people that is super dependable. He's not a firm foundation kind of guy. He is just living his life. He's super nice. He's super kind. He loves Liv and all these kinds of things, but he's not that stable presence. And they meet completely in the knowledge that Finn is going to leave. He is in St. Agnes for a very limited time, and he's going to leave. He lives in LA. He's from St. Agnes. He moved to LA, and he's going to return to LA once he's done in St. Agnes here. So they become fast friends, but it's quickly obvious that they are more than friends. And it's quickly obvious that they have deep feelings for each other. They click, they mesh, they like each other, they enjoy each other's company, but they don't want to start anything because they know that Finn is leaving, and they know that Liv has no interest in going anywhere, going where he's gonna go, right? She's planning on moving to London and pursuing this art career and pursuing her career in sculpting. Finn is planning on, returning to LA, and he's pursuing this career in music, and they have their own separate lives. And not only that, but Finn has absolutely no interest in staying in St. Agnes in particular. Like I said, he's from St. Agnes, he moved away, and he was just returning to St. Agnes to visit, but he has bad memories associated with St. Agnes. Well, then tragedy strikes, right? Of course, tragedy has to strike. Liv's parents die in like the most tragic way possible when Liv and Finn finally get together, okay? So it's like his last few nights in St. Agnes, her parents are out of town, they end up getting together, and then next morning her parents have died. And Finn is there to support her, he is there to comfort her, he is there just to like be there for her and everything like that. And he actually extends his stay just so that way he can be around for her as needed. But then he leaves, right? Then he leaves because that's like his life is elsewhere. He leaves, but they make all of these promises to one another. They make these promises that it's like, you know what, he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. Liv has absolutely no, like, she is not gonna entertain the idea of going to LA, but he's like, I'll come back next summer. He'll come back next summer, and if they're both single, then you know what, they'll pick up where they left off, and like, no harm, no foul, right? So we start jumping back and forth between these past summers, okay? So we started at summer, like the summer 6 years past, and then we're gonna go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and like we're gonna keep going from past summers to the present summer. So with all of the past summers, Finn continues to come back, right? It's sort of giving you November 9-esque feelings by Colleen Hoover, okay? Where it's like every year that he comes back. He comes back and he comes to see her, and he's around and everything like that. And he tends to come back around the anniversary of her parents' death, just so that way it's like he's around, right? Super cutesy. While both of them have sort of moved forward with their life, right? In some capacity, they've both moved forward. They're also really like stuck on each other. You can tell it's like they're just completely stuck on each other. They're preoccupied by each other. They can't let go of each other. And what we see is that Liv is really struggling to heal and move on with her life after the death of her parents, okay? It's like Finn is definitely caught up on Liv. Like Finn definitely has feelings for Liv. Finn is definitely attached. But Liv is really struggling to actually say, you know what? I'm going to move forward, right? Like I'm going to continue my life. She feels guilty, she feels lonely, she feels responsible for her older brother Michael, who has Down syndrome. She feels like she can't leave. She feels like I'm stuck here. I'm not allowed to move on with my life. I have to stay. I have to stay in St. Agnes. I can't go anywhere, right? So she feels stuck and she feels guilty. She feels stuck, but she feels obligated to stay, right? And so every year, every summer, Finn comes back, and like he's back for maybe a week, maybe 2 or 3, okay? And they seem to fall more in love. But what you also see is that there's this tension between them, and there's just like the relationship is strained because it's like they know they can't do this forever. They keep on telling each other like, well, maybe you should just move here. Well, no, I'm not going to move here. Maybe you should just move here. Well, no, I'm not, right? So there's all this pressure because neither of them wants to compromise, and they want the other one to compromise. And since neither of them are willing, it's like they know that this arrangement is going to have to end somehow. They're not sure how it's going to end. There's sort of this hope that maybe it'll fizzle, but at the same time, they're like, this is never going to fizzle because we actually have feelings for each other, right? And so it's just this heartbreaking back and forth, and Liv trying to move forward, but unable to move forward, and Finn coming back, and I mean, it's just this whole thing. And it really ends up feeling more like they're just dangling each other on a string. They're just dangling each other on a string, like, like waiting for each other, right? Liv especially. Finn is sort of able to carry on with his life, but Liv especially, like, she puts her life on hold in a lot of areas. She puts her relational life on hold in a lot of ways, waiting for Finn to come back. And even though, like, every single time he comes back, she is still, like, she hasn't seen anybody, she hasn't really moved on with her life relationally, but he has definitely explored, right, other relationships. And so there's just all of this strain and pressure between them. And then we meet Tom. Listen, reading Tom is like eating warm bread, okay? It is fantastic. We love Tom, okay? We love Tom. Tom is our present day guy. Tom is our present day summer guy. This man, I mean, he's wonderful. He's just wonderful in every single way. Like I said, warm bread. So he's staying in one of the apartments that Liv rents out, and he's sort of this mystery, right? You're not really sure why he's here. You're not really sure why he's in St. Agnes or what brought him here and why he's staying here for such a long time. But you do discover that he's the one who's been drawing on the sand, and you discover, like, he's just very quiet. He's very reserved, and we start to be super curious about him, right? Like, like, why are you here? Why, like, what are you doing here? What brings you here? Why, like, you're obviously not going out and exploring things. You're just sort of like huddled in this apartment and keeping to yourself. Why are you here, right? And at first we think that he's sort of a jerk, right? We think that he's sort of a jerk because of their first interactions with each other. But then we come to find out, like, oh my gosh, you're actually this super nice guy, and you're super kind, and you're super sweet, and you're super, like, warm. And one thing leads to another, and, you know, Liv starts talking to him, and they end up sort of seeing each other and hanging out with each other and, you know, building this full-on relationship with each other. And here's the thing. Tom decides to stay. Like, that in and of itself was significant to me, because it was one of those deals where it's like for the past 7 summers, Finn has done nothing but say, I will never stay here. I will never stay here. And it's sort of hurtful. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, Liv, like, you can't expect him to stay here. But at the same time, he has such a hatred for the place that it almost feels like a jab at Liv for how much he hates St. Agnes and how much he despises this place. And it's sort of like, why do you keep coming back if you hate it so much, right? But Tom's like, yeah, you know what? Like, I think I'll just move here. I'm from Wales, but I think I'll just, like, move here. It's one of those deals where it's like, it feels refreshing because Liv is like, oh, well, like, maybe I don't have to have this long-term relationship. Maybe I don't have to have this heartbreaking back and forth every year. Maybe I can have this solid guy who wants to be here, who wants to stay here with me. It's like she's aware that perhaps she doesn't need to stay in St. Agnes, but it's nice to have a guy that's like, yeah, I like it here. You know, I love the town just like you, and I want to stay. But as we dig more into Tom, we start to realize the reason why he is in St. Agnes. And we find out that the reason is, like, heartbreaking, and it's horrific, and, like, his life is literally at risk. And we're like, right, like, there's this urgency about it. All of a sudden, it's like, do you stay with Tom because his life is at risk? Like, is he even worth the effort? Is he, right? Because he is not well. And he, right, like, you don't know if or when he's going to basically die, right? And so it's just this tension with Tom. It's not the same tension as it was with Finn. And in the middle of all of this, you know, Liv decides, she's like, yeah, you know what, Tom, I'm gonna take the risk, and I'm gonna stick it out and everything like that. And then Finn shows up, right? We spent the entire present day summer thinking, you know what, Finn's not going to show up. They sort of had this massive blowout last summer, and so it's like, it's doubtful that he's going to turn up again, right? We didn't think he was going to come back because they basically ended things. They were basically like, you know what, let's just cut it out here. But then, like, he shows up, and it's time for Liv to choose. It's time for Liv to, like, really choose, right? Tom or Finn. Again, don't get me wrong. I love Finn, okay? Like, I love Finn, okay? Again, he's my moody artist. We love that. You know how I be. But throughout the past summers, Finn, like, him and Liv together sort of pissed me off. It sort of pissed me off just with that whole dangling each other on the string. You know, it's like every single time Finn comes back, he sort of expects Liv to be waiting for him, right? He expects Liv to be single. He expects Liv to be waiting for him. He plays with her emotions, and he builds that attachment some more, pressures her to leave her entire life behind, and then he just, like, leaves, right? He just, like, abandons her. He just, you know, instead of saying, like, okay, you know what, like, maybe I'll compromise, he just leaves, right? And, like, Liv technically does the same thing, right? She technically does the same exact thing where she expects Finn to be single, she expects Finn to come back, and she expects Finn to change his entire life and stay with her. And he never does, right? And so when he comes back on the 7th summer, it's sort of like, it's alarming, right? It's alarming because it's obvious. He expects, once again, that Liv is still single. He expects Liv to be waiting for him, and she's not. You know, she's with Tom. Now, of course, Finn's gone off and had several girlfriends and several relationships, but he expects Liv to be waiting for him, obviously. So he gives Liv this ultimatum. Right? Me or Tom, which, I mean, honestly, it's a little late for that, right? A little bit late for that. I mean, you can tell that Liv loves him. She loves him, and she tells him, I love you, like, so much. I love you so much. But she loves Tom just as much as him, and Tom is here, right? Tom is with me. Tom is willing to be with me. Tom wants to be here. I don't have to convince Tom to stay with me. Tom is able to meet me where I'm at, and I'm able to meet Tom where he's at. And that's not possible with Finn at this point in time. So they move on, right? They move on with their lives and carry on living with their lives. And in the epilogue, we see that they do encounter each other and they do see each other from time to time. She's with Tom, she marries Tom, and she carries out this life with Tom. And Finn, he carries on his life and he's with a couple of girls, and, they both live out their lives. And Finn comes back a couple of times because his grandparents still live there, and they start passing away, and there's just reasons for Finn to come back. And so they encounter each other a couple more times. Liv is completely happy with Tom, and you can tell it's one of those deals where it's she feels attached to Finn still. She still loves Finn, and she still considers Finn a friend. She's still close to Finn, but she is content with Tom, and she is here with Tom, and she's completely present with Tom, and Tom is 100% perfectly content to stay in St. Agnes with Liv. But he also is this really crucial role for her where he's pushing her to go, right? The whole reason she refused to leave St. Agnes and everything like that was because of Michael and because of her parents, and because, she didn't want to leave because she felt like it would be a betrayal to her family. Tom is this presence where it's hey, let's go do these things that you love and that mean a lot to you, and I want to be there and I want to see this, and he wants to be present for these things. And so he pushes her to go, right? Your brother's fine, he's completely fine, we do not need to stay here and worry about your brother. Let's go, right? Let's go and do some things, let's go and experience life, let's go and do things that you want to do and that I want to do with you, right? And then Tom freaking dies. Listen, Tom freaking dies. Okay, it makes my eyes water right now just thinking about it. I have never been more shattered in my entire life. I have never been more heartbroken in my entire life. Okay, so we knew that this was a risk. We knew that this was a thing that could happen. We knew that, right? We knew that. But there was this small part of me that it was just you know what? Maybe this will just be the happily ever after, and Finn moves on and Liv moves on, and Tom lives. No, that's not the case. It's not the case at all. Gosh, it's the most... Oh, geez. So, after Tom dies, and we're all heartbroken, and we're shattered, and we're broken to pieces, Finn comes back, okay? Finn comes back because, he's always there. He's always there when Liv needs him. He's always there when Liv is going through a hard time. And so, he obviously loves her still. He loves her completely, and he tells her that, I love you. I love you. He always tells her that, I love you. And so once again, one thing leads to another. He comes back, he's there for her, he comforts her, and she's I need to leave St. Agnes, right? I need to leave St. Agnes, I need to get out of here because there are so many memories here, there are so many ghosts here, right? All of the people that I love that have died, it happened here, I need to leave. And so she ends up going to LA with him. She ends up moving to LA for a little bit, visiting him in LA for a little bit, spending some time with him there, and then she returns to St. Agnes, and it's no, I can't stay here, right? I can't stay here. So she ends up moving to LA for a time. And once again, one thing leads to another, and they end up together, right? They end up together. It's their happily ever after. They live in LA, and then they end up moving back to St. Agnes for the conclusion. Again, I could have seen this ending happening either way, right? Where it's Finn moves on and Liv ends up with Tom, or Tom dies and Liv and Finn end up together, right? I think that it was always it's one of those things where Liv and Finn are sort of that inevitable, but without Tom, Liv and Finn would never have ended up together, okay? Liv and Finn never would have ended up together because, for one thing, Tom enables Liv to go, right? He sort of mobilizes Liv. He sort of mobilizes her in a way where it's okay, you can go and do other things besides just staying in St. Agnes, right? Which enables Liv to go to LA. But at the same time, they also needed Tom to sort of break up this back and forth that was going on between them, because you could tell that it was just sort of this routine, and it was just this habit that they were never going to break, and that they were just going to continue hurting each other unless one of them stopped the back and forth and said, okay, you know what, I'm done. And then they had to live without each other for a while, and they had to live without that relationship for a while. And Finn had so much connection to Liv's heartbreaking past, right? The loss of her parents and, you know, all of the years after that he came back and all of this loss and all of this pain and all of these things, right? Finn was a constant connection to the past, whereas Tom was a clean slate, and it allowed Liv to break free, right? It allowed Liv to stop living with this, you know, this tragedy and to start actually doing other things. And when Tom leaves, she needed Finn, right? She needed Finn once again, and they were able to break that monotonous back and forth. And they were able to move forward because Tom had broken their habit, right? Tom had broken that habit of, oh, well, we're just gonna continue doing this toxic back and forth. Finn fills a different hole for Liv, okay? Finn fills a different hole where Tom, was this much needed, balm for Liv, and this much needed, safe space, this comfort zone, and this person that it was you basically helped her to heal, right? Finn is one of those people where he's there for her in her deepest lows, and he is present, and he's a constant, and he is somebody from the past. She would have never ended up with Finn if it weren't for Tom. And so we needed Tom. I loved both of them. And I think listen guys, this is not a trash book, okay? This is not a trash book. I know, I say I read trash. This is not a trash book. This is a beautiful book because I love both of these guys, okay? I love both of these guys. Sure, there was a couple of times that I was really pissed off with Finn and I was like, go, whatever. I loved both of them. And it was one of those things where it was they both were necessary. They were both crucial people in Liv's life. And it was just this really beautiful relational connection and this relational, path. And so I'm going to be honest, I love both of these guys. I loved the story. This was just a beautiful book. This is a beautiful book. If you haven't read this book, I highly recommend you read this book. But please, read with care. Read with care because it was one of those books where it was absolutely heartbreaking, especially at the end, but it also it does have a happily ever after. And so I think this might have a permanent place on my bookshelf because this was just an absolutely gorgeous book, a gorgeous story. So those are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts on 7 Summers by Paige Toon, an absolute heartbreaking, beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful love story, and I can't recommend it enough. Have you read it? I'm very curious because I've never heard of Paige Toon, but I also sometimes, my head's under a rock and I sort of went through a period of time where I wasn't reading very much, and so I've just now sort of started reading again, and I'm discovering all these authors that have come out, and Paige Toon, I would have to say, I'm gonna be needing more. So definitely look forward to more Paige Toon books because this was absolutely gorgeous. What are your recommendations, and what are your thoughts on 7 Summers? Did this have you in shattered and in tatters and in pieces on the floor as well? Because I was a mess. So yes, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to hear them. I am going to go sob in my coffee now because this was absolutely heartbreaking. So that is all I have for you today. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.